All right, what's up, everybody? Wanted to hop on here a little early today. I had some visitors stop by, so I wanted to basically have a live conversation about some things that we're talking about, because I feel like this may be beneficial to some folks out there that would like to start their own live video podcast, start their own video production, or just basically take whatever it is that you're currently doing and take it a step up to the next level, whatever that looks like for you. So we've got Ethan and Jeff Pinkleton with us today. I'm sure a lot of you guys who know me and follow my page know these guys very well. So Ethan, how old are you? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
15 years old, like sports, watching videos on YouTube, which is what I'm trying to be starting this year.
Love your dad.
Love your dad very much.
Love your dad.
So what types of content do 15-year-old guys participate in these days?
Well, I feel like it differs. It's because it can be what you like watching might not be the thing you want to make content on, because I enjoy watching commentators that commentate on things that are happening on YouTube and the world, like what's happening today. But I tried making, I thought about doing videos about that, but I didn't actually enjoy making it.
Okay, so do you have your own YouTube channel?
I just started one, but I haven't made a video yet.
What's the name of it?
Loose Ends.
Loose Ends. Yeah. What do you want to talk about?
I feel like I just want to do what I enjoy right now. Like, I might do gaming or something. I might just talk about. I also wanted to do reviews, like reviewing shows. I watched this show called The Dark Crystal on Netflix, based on the movie from 1982, and I just really enjoyed that, and I thought I'd probably do a review as one of my first videos. Okay,
good deal. So who have you watched that has inspired these ideas that you want to have about these types of topics that you want to do?
I watch Dude Perfect, a lot of channels like that. Some gamers, PewDiePie, other people. I watch almost all kind of YouTube, or just there's channels that I don't subscribe to, but if I see an interesting video, I'll watch that too.
Okay, cool.
We got some competition here. Can I just say this today? Your daughter, she's going to take over.
She is.
Wherever you're going, Eric, she's taking it to another level.
She definitely does all the time. Okay, so check this out. What is it going to take for you to actually get started and create your first video?
I feel like first I have to make a decision on what I'm going to do, which is what I'm doing now. And mostly, I have lights and a microphone and stuff. So I'm just going to figure out what I want to do, write not like a script, but bullet points to stay on track, and just film it, edit it. What I want to work on a lot is just setting a good scene and then editing the videos. I want some good editing.
Okay. Good deal.
Sounds like you're around the right guy for that.
Absolutely.
Eric's
so I'll give you a little tip on that. So when I first started, because I run 2 different pages and have 2 different live shows that I'm trying to do. So one of the first things that I tried to do, one of the first stories that I tried to make, was to talk about what got me excited about the topic, right? So tell me about a time where you first got excited, where previously you weren't excited. So there was one point in time where you weren't excited about this topic, and then either something happened, or you started watching some stuff, or you did something, or liked something that you're like, wow, now I'm interested in this topic.
It's a great question.
Tell me, answer that question for me.
I've always liked watching YouTube in general, and honestly, I've been wanting to do a channel for a while, but just didn't really want, I didn't have a ton of time, and I just didn't really think I was up for it. Because I have a friend, Caleb, and we would make a ton of videos together, just messing around with Nerf guns and stuff, first-person shooters, and I really enjoyed doing that. So this year I was like, Christmas is coming up, I'm gonna ask for some stuff. And
Dad came through, huh?
Yeah.
Santa Claus hook it up.
Yep.
Grandma was really good too.
Grandma looked at. Okay, so let me ask you this: do you have a camera?
Well, I can use my phone, but I'm hopefully getting a camera by beginning of summer.
Okay, so you've got. Buy one. So do you have everything that you need right now to actually go home and shoot a YouTube video?
Yes.
Can I just say how funny that sounds when you're in this setup right here? Everything seems adequate compared to what you got, Eric.
Well, here's the thing: a lot of it's overkill, right? You don't need a big expensive camera and all these microphones and everything. Get started with what you have.
Yeah, and I have an iPhone 8, which has 4K, so I thought that seems good for now.
Okay. So, and right now, we're shooting in 1080, so we're not shooting in 4K. I could, but honestly, what I've learned is that, if you shoot in 4K, that not everybody's internet quality or internet Wi-Fi that they're on, if they try to click it and watch it, if their Wi-Fi sucks, or it's not, they're not in a very good spot, they're not even gonna be able to watch it at top quality anyway. So sometimes it'll actually prevent people from watching the video.
That's interesting.
And a lot of times on YouTube especially, videos won't be set. It'll be set on auto of low quality, and people don't know how to change it to better quality, so they won't know the difference anyways.
Okay.
I knew I was going to come here and learn so much from both of you. Dag.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to have this talk
My
about.
son was such an authority on some stuff here.
So let's look at this. Okay, so there was a time where you weren't excited, and then all of a sudden you're like, man, these dudes make YouTube videos. They're good at it. They're enjoying it. Like, the problem that a lot of us face, or that I face, is that I would watch people who are like have made videos for like 2 or 3 years and posted one a day, and like have full-time people who edit them and full-time people who create content for them, and just like. And what I was doing, I was comparing myself to these people who had been doing it for years. And I'm like, good God, there's no way I'll ever be that good. Like, look at him. Like, all his videos are awesome and he talks really good. Like, but one thing that I would do, right, and this is what I encourage everybody to do, is go back to this YouTube video or this YouTube channel and watch the first video that channel posted. Right?
It's kind of like Dude Perfect. Their first video looks terrible now when you watch it.
But take a look at them now.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I would just encourage you to take a look at the 2, 3, 4 people that you subscribe to and go back to their first video and their second video and their third video and their fourth video.
Eric, would you say a lot of this thinking of Ethan, or just even, when the gathering does whatever it does, do you think it's so often what people do is think they're trying to get to A to Z and go from A straight to Z versus take a step, see what works, bite, they say, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time?
Absolutely.
Take one bite,
Yep.
one bite. Don't try to go out there and be perfect.
Yep.
Take your stab,
Yep.
go again.
Yep.
Like we're watching as a family a good bit, old episodes of Survivor.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny watching Survivor 10, 15 years ago compared to now. It's like, wow, that show wasn't that good back then.
What was
as far as
different?
the film quality?
The production value?
I think the lighting, like today we were watching right before we came over here, season 16. They're getting ready to start season 40.
Yeah.
The lighting looked a little darker where they didn't have commentary versus where now Jeff Probst will talk about, the commentary of a challenge or whatever.
Yep.
Just on so many levels, it's better now. And they've just gradually improved. It wasn't like
15 years ago, were you watching Survivor?
I've only missed season 1 and I've gone back and watched part of season 1. So
So-
I'm very loyal to Survivor.
So you're a fan no matter what, right?
No matter what.
And that's that's another good point right there too, is that if you have content that is engaging and like you have a type of person who wants to participate in, like, the only thing they're really listening to is what you're saying, right? Yes, you want it to look good. Yes, you want it to sound good, but the message that you're delivering is really what matters most. Because there's a lot of people out there who have a ton of gear and a ton of experience, but just don't know what they're talking about or who they're talking to. And in the beginning, you can't, like, that's something that, like, at Survivor season 1, they didn't know who was going to watch it in season 2, 3, 4, 5. What they did was they just adapted as they kept going.
So okay, Eric, let me ask a question. So now we're changing roles. I get to ask a question. How do you take that? And then, like, I was reading an article by Kerry Newhoff the other day where he talked about content is everywhere now. You can get it through podcasts, through blogs, through, you name it.
Yep.
It's YouTube, TED Talks. There's so much content. And he talked about going to conferences where maybe there's thousands of people versus going to some event where there's 100 people versus getting with like an author, speaker, podcaster with 30 people versus paying the money to get them one-on-one. So how do you differentiate those two? Because on one hand, you need content.
Right.
You got that book about expert secrets.
Yep.
You got to start down a road to get somewhere, but then taking it when you get it and say, okay, now we're going to fraction off part of this crowd to really get who we want, because anybody can do anything on some level.
Yep.
So how do you wrestle with those two?
So that was a loaded question right there. So the
was.
question basically
I'm
was
good at
like,
loaded
how do you filter through all the content and the noise out there?
Well, yeah, but then specialize it where you need to specialize it to separate yourself from assuming everybody's going to find you because everybody's out there. Like I liked what he was saying about going from 1,000 to 100 to, he said, like, when you get into that 30 people who want time with you in that kind of setting versus people who even pay a bunch of money to be with just you.
I was reading this the other day, and there's an article somebody wrote. I don't remember who it was, but it's basically called 1,000 True Followers. Right. And the premise behind it is that it makes more sense to have 1,000, or in your case, 100 or 30, to have a handful of loyal fans or loyal followers or loyal customers or loyal believers or supporters that really care about the thing you do. Right. To the point where it's like, yeah, you could make content and try to target 1 million people with it. Right. But if 999,000 people don't care, but you've already found your true believers, your true 1,000 or your 30 or your 100, and you can spend your time working with those folks to figure out their needs, their desires, their fears, their goals, their dreams, and be able to speak to them, right? Because I don't think that, even though people, have a huge platform, not everybody's going to resonate with that message.
Yeah.
I read this book right here. This is what I'm reading, what he's talking about, Expert Secrets, Russell Brunson. I'm going to the conference at the end of the month.
How much is he going to pay you for having just said his name right there with your crowd?
Not a dime, right? Not a dime.
Something.
But,
you don't get paid for shout-outs, Dad.
If you're Eric, you might.
Well, here's the thing. He's got affiliate programs to where if I was to turn people onto his programs, you could get commissioned for as long as they participate in it from there. But that's kind of another story. But basically, like, I know, and I shared this the other day, like with this page that I'm creating, this New Life Media Marketing Productions, right? My goal is to reach people who have a message that want to get that message out, right? And my belief is that those types of people are people who have business fan pages or different types of pages on Facebook, right? Because you can target those people specifically, because right, if I've got 1,500 friends on my Facebook, none of them are going to care about what I'm talking about, right? So if I keep making videos for people that don't care what I'm talking about without strategically trying to get my message in front of the right people at episode 20 or 25, I'm going to be like, you know what? This ain't working. I'm going to give up.
But don't you have to ultimately get, and this is just me asking, not knowing, playing dumb here, do you have to ultimately try to get to the masses to then get to who you called your true followers, your believers? You used a bunch of different synonyms there. Is that kind of, because there's no way to find that crowd right away. Like with me, when we do whatever we're going to do with the gathering, at some point, we're going to cater to what we call our champions, the people who are really for us, really with us, whether they're donors, locker room leaders, guys are involved or whatever. But then there's that. But then there's also, you still want to touch people you might never touch without that medium. So I guess there's a real dichotomous way. I certainly don't know it. Is it masses to get to those true followers, you call it, or do you go with the true followers first and hope they champion you to the masses?
So in this book and in this this world that I've been studying and learning about, you have your avatar, right? You have your person, like you have the person that you were called to serve. With the gathering, connecting men to men and men to God.
You make that sound so good.
So who are you targeting? Men. Why?
Because we see a great need to impact them, and as we impact them, that'll change most everything else in culture.
Okay, so
women and kids and communities and organizations and businesses and churches, and the list goes on.
Yep. So when the gathering is out promoting an event or trying to get support or trying to let people know what you do, who are you targeting?
Men.
Absolutely.
Or people who care about and are passionate about seeing men reach their full potential.
Right. So what do you think would happen if your message was to connect men to men and men to God, but you only targeted women? What do you think would happen?
You'd be out of business.
I don't think we'd be out of business. You're hitting a couple pipelines down versus directly who you want to hit.
Yeah.
So obviously since connecting men to men, you're hitting men first.
Yep.
But you've seen it with Young Guns. We see some of our greatest champions become the wives of guys like you. So, they definitely make a huge difference, but it's usually going to start with men first and then maybe the wives second or after they've seen transformation in their husband's life. And
that's perfect. That's what I'm talking about right there. So what I'm saying is that you would have to be able to know, if you're trying to start a live podcast or a live stream or a YouTube channel or something like that, you have to have in mind what type of person I'm trying to reach. So for 15-year-old Ethan, he's probably not going to create videos that are targeted towards 50-year-old men. Right? He's going to be talking about stuff that's relevant to 15-year-old boys and guys his age that are interesting to them. But he's not going to be talking about Mopar hot rods or something like that. So therefore, 50-year-old men are probably not going to watch a YouTube channel of a 15-year-old teenager who's talking about movie reviews or whatever it is that you're interested in.
And I feel like you definitely should go for the people you're targeting at the beginning. Because say I picked a movie review, you'll slowly start to build what am I trying to say? You'll start to build a following, and
Absolutely.
Once you start building that following, more people will be able to see your channel, and if they enjoy the same stuff as you, you'll gain more subscribers, which kind of has an effect that continues.
Absolutely, and you just get started and you build off it from there. So, Jeff, I want to challenge you for a second because I know that this, for some reason, I feel like this podcasting, video stuff has been on your heart with the gathering for some time, right? And I feel like you have the resources, the people, the team, the knowledge, the experience, and the connections to make all that happen. If the gathering was to take a step forward towards creating a podcast or a live video series or a video series at all, like what would you like to see happen there?
I think the number, I mean, I go to fellowship and we've been doing these God stories, which you are obviously part of them, part of one of those. I think anytime you get to tell a story and see how lives have been changed, transformed, person at point A who ends up at point Z, which is where you're trying to get them to, and certainly beyond, and then they go have an impact on other people, like little girls who run around the green room area.
Yeah.
I mean, those are great. And I think, there's always a balance between where you're trying to give content to equip, to inform, but then testimonies, life stories are always, I think, ultimately where you're going to go. And I was just saying to a group of guys the other day, when I think about what most motivates me, I wish I could say at the top of the chain, it's scripture, or it's my prayer life, or it's worship, which worship is pretty high, but people's stories. I mean, your story has greatly motivated me over the years. I mean, there's endless guys I could say that about. So I think whenever you get a chance to tell where a life has been changed, that's everything.
So let me ask you this. Let's say you had a live podcast set up, right? How many people do you know off the top of your head that would be willing to get on there and share their testimony or share their story with you?
Oh my gosh. That'd be right off the bat, probably 50 to 100. 50
to 100. I would agree too. And anyone that sees this, they're probably like, yeah, Jeff knows everybody. Everybody be willing to do that. Okay.
Well, I mean, that's also keeping in mind to have transformed, changed stories. That list gets dwindled down quite a bit because you're going to pick the best of the best. But I'd easily be 50 to 100.
Right. Absolutely. I agree.
Starting right here to my left, 2 people over.
So what do you think the value of that would be to reaching people, to carrying the message, to connecting men to God? Like what type of value? So let's say you had the podcast, you had the video, you had it set up, you start doing these interviews, you interview 50 people. Like, what do you think the impact of that would be?
Oh, I think it's huge. Just like we talked about before we got on here. I mean, I think the great thing is anything like that, like your God story that Fellowship did, I think it was back in August 2018. I mean, we just shared that again recently on Facebook and through an email or something like that. And that has pretty much no shelf life. I mean, that goes, it's an endless shelf life. That goes on beyond you.
Lives forever.
Your life. We did one with Marty Dennis and myself talking about a buddy of ours, Ben. I forgot the other one that's coming. Oh, we did one with Scott Griffith and Clark Engel and Steve Leap and Sean Bowser. Those things just go on and on. So anytime you watch them, I mean, it speaks to my heart. Yep. It's my love language.
Yep.
I get encouraged. It spurs me on. Anybody they know. I mean, we did the math, I think your year with Young Guns, how many people we could reach just with those Young Guns guys. I don't know if you remember that. I think it was like 25,000 people amongst you 10 or 11 guys.
It's quite
25,000 people just on Facebook.
Oh, that's just like through the friends list?
Just through the friends list on Facebook of your friends. And, say Stephen Brandenberry and Steve Leap and Scott Green and those guys, 25,000 people. And then if any of them go, I mean, look at, people we know in Springfield, the Blake Schaefers of the world, the Jeff Foremans, the guys like that who do these kind of videos. Once people start sharing, I know with my board right now, it's over 10,000.
We got Lindsay says, Eric, you're great at multitasking. Hello from the acres. What's up,
Oh,
Lindsay
where's Dana?
Yeah, he's on there. He's watching.
Lindsay's probably out doing some, ready to get some houses taken care of today. With her
she knows how it is. You got to be a multitasker when you're at home. You have to. So check us out. I think that, and you're absolutely right? So one thing that I've learned is that, just because you have a message or you have a platform or you got content, right, it has to matter, right? And the more that it matters, the more of an impact that it makes, the more of a reason it is to pull the trigger and do it.
Well, and the beauty with what you're saying, when you ask it about the gathering, and I love the toot horn trumpet, that sound, the gathering. But, it's like the thing we talk about people's stories all the time is you can argue content, you can fact check, Snopes, anything. You can't challenge someone's life being changed.
Yes.
I mean, you've got plenty of stories through substance abuse. We had a great story at our church today with these God stories from a guy named TJ Mounts. I went right to Facebook and looked.
Yep.
He's friends with Eric.
I know TJ. Yep.
I'm like, his story
awesome.
ties into Eric probably somehow. So you can't argue TJ's changed life.
Yep.
You can't argue your changed life.
Yep.
Brittany, whoever. I mean, you can't. So those things are pretty incredible because you can challenge somebody's opinion or a statistic. I mean, there's always statistics out there like drinking a cup of coffee per day will do this beneficially.
Yeah.
Drinking a cup of coffee a day will kill you. I mean, so should you drink coffee or not drink coffee? It changed life.
Yep.
You can never debate that.
Yep. So let me ask you this: now this is, I don't want to go off on a different angle here, but is this something that you have put enough thought into to where if the opportunity popped up, you would say yes? And I know as
well, yeah, remember, Eric, we're meeting on the 22nd. Me, you, and our friend the Acres, Dana.
Oh, that's where we're going. Okay,
well,
good deal.
We're all meeting, so we're putting some of this together in the next 2 weeks.
Very excited about that. So I think that it would. And here's the thing, right? In the beginning, everybody sucks at everything they try to do in the beginning, right? You can have, you know, an advantage, or you can have, you know, all the tools that you need, but in the beginning, it's not going to be perfect. This is for everybody is watching, or us, or you. It's like, you think that you're going to be a pro coming out the gate, or that everyone's just going to like love what you're doing, right? And there's this principle called the dip. Now, there's a book that I read called The Dip. So anything that you start doing that's new, whether it's The Gathering or, you know, 15-year-old stuff or my stuff or any stuff, like, it always starts out high, like, and everyone's excited, like, oh my God, did you hear The Gathering started a podcast? Jeff's interviewing Dana, and you know, all, you know, different stuff is going on. There's going to be a lot of buzz about it. And then what's going to happen is it's going to decline. Right. That's just the law of the universe right there. That's what happens. Everything. Yes. Yes. So and then it's going to decline. Right. And then it's in those moments down there that you really realize, like, okay, if this is worth doing and worth doing well and worth putting 120% effort into, I'm going to do it, whether I know 10 people are listening to it or 10,000 people are listening to it. Right. And that's the mindset that you have to have going in, because it's always, it goes up and then it goes down. And if you keep with it, it comes back up. And that's where you can.
Well, you know, when I've preached to some churches, you know, one of the examples I love to use is Abraham Lincoln. Think about if he would have quit after he lost several times. Yep. I shared one time, I remember one sermon about how he lost an election. Not long later became president of the United States. And arguably people would say one of the greatest presidents we've ever had, but he lost until he won. So, I mean, politics is a great way to look at that, because you see lots of people lose at this level. They've gotten some name recognition, and now they win. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, yeah. So I think that it's very important that no matter, you know what I'm saying, we can start wherever we are with what we have, you know? So I know I shared a little bit of my own experience the other day that I made a video. It was a live video, one of the first ones I done, and it looked like crap, right? You know, have you ever shot a live video?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did it come out good?
Because I was in most of them. Anyone I've probably ever done has not been. Thank you, Ethan. Yeah, probably not good. Hey, actually, if he would ever find out about this video, Steve Eisentreger at Ohio Valley Surgical Hospital, I've always said he and I could both probably lose our jobs based on a video we did years ago that was so pathetically terrible and unedited that he'd lose Ohio Valley and I'd lose The Gathering. But oh yeah, those always start out tough.
Yep. So here's the thing. In the beginning, you know what I'm saying, it's not going to be very good. But the more like you understand it, and you understand how important sound is, your audio and the visual aspect of it and the lighting, and you know what I'm saying? Like, that's been my experience, that the little bit that you learn each and every day to try to take whatever it is you're doing and take it to the next level, right? And over time, like, that's how I've been able to build this set and build like this ability to just talk and, as Lindsay said, multitask and just do whatever I have to do, you know, and just roll with it. So
don't you think it's a lot of, like, I try to tell my kids, I mean, a lot of, with anything in life, it's about grace and freedom to make room to make mistakes. Yeah. It's about grace, room to make mistakes. I mean, nobody's going out with anything and nailing it perfect every time. Right out of the gate.
I think like the fourth video I shot with somebody, and I had accidentally, I can show you right here, but I had accidentally clicked the wrong button. So like, I was recording sound from this microphone on my computer, and we were talking into this $1,000 setup here, and like, but I was recording sound, so it sounded like crap. Right? A simple mistake that I made that, you know, and now every time I go live, I check and make sure that button's clicked right there to make sure that it sounds good. And then just 2 nights ago, I was going live and I was trying to do something, and then the whole thing crashed. Right? But I realized, okay, I had 25 different things running at the same time, and that's probably why it crashed. So now I've learned to shut everything down and just run one app at a time.
Well, it's probably a great learning lesson. Just okay, next time, now I know about this. I have to be aware. Yeah. And here's what I'm gonna do to fix that next time, and every time after, you develop the habit of what makes it good.
Mistakes are awesome, and I say, okay, each time I make a mistake, I'm like, yes, I know not to do that, or I know to double check that, right? And that's really how you learn right there. So I think that so we've been going 24 minutes here. So I think for our young man here, what's it going to take for you to get started? When are you going to make your first video?
I feel like it's just up to me when I'm ready. I could probably make one now. I could make one.
Probably go home and make one today.
So you say it like that, Eric's going to be on you and hold you accountable.
Yeah. So go home. What's up, YouTube? This is Ethan. Today we're going to be talking about my new channel. I'm super excited about it. This is why I'm excited about it. This is what I hope to do with it. So if you have any questions or comments or want to learn more about this, leave the questions below. And the cool thing is 4 people are going to watch it. Your mom, dad, your brother, and me, right? And then the next time you're gonna be like, oh, well, I could have done this a little bit better. And you're gonna make tweaks and adjustments every single time. And then you're gonna make another video and another video and another video. And it's like the more that you do it, the better you'll get and the more confident you'll be. So, Jeff, what's the first podcast on The Gathering going to be about?
You know, I think the challenge we have is figuring out, we've talked about this before, you know, where is it someone like me with you or me with, you know, whoever, you know, we've had this great array, gosh, probably pushing 20 speakers at breakfast now. Where do we fit in interviews with some sort of setup with, you know, guys like Clark Kellogg, who people know who he is, Todd Blackledge, Michael Franzese. So I think figuring out where is there variety versus where is there a consistent, steady theme. I mean, I keep thinking a lot as we've talked about Dude Perfect. And when they started out, it was trick shot, trick shot, trick shot, trick shot. Then they kind of started tearing off into the all sports balls challenge and found a niche there.
Yep.
Now they do this thing called Overtime, which seems to be a good niche, which is a little bit more like a talk show format. So I guess with anything, it's a matter of try different flavors.
Just getting started.
Jenny's ice cream.
Yeah.
See what fits. You know, the things that really go well, do more of those than not.
Yeah.
But keep some spice to life to it. So that's where we're going to lean on experts like you to help us figure some of that out.
I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. So,
and Dane Akers,
for anybody that's watching, right, if you would listen to Jeff Pinkleton's The Gathering podcast, please comment below and say, yes, Jeff, start the podcast, because I know that.
Give us ideas, too, on which of those things sound good as far as whether it's us just talking, you know, because one of the things we've talked about is just some of the issues men deal with.
Yep.
Especially thinking about it more on a local level and just kind of back and forth talking about it versus where is it interviewing people who are named people, like I said, like a Clark Kellogg or whatever, or just much like with you, hearing a lot of testimonies and stories from guys of how they got to where they are. Because you've obviously, Eric, done very well with that, with talking. I've seen some of the ones you've had with a couple of the recovery people on here, and JJ's been on with you a couple times.
Yeah.
And hearing those stories, I mean, how's that ever going to go wrong? So we definitely want to hear from people what they want us to talk about.
Good deal. Well, I'm looking forward to getting that started. Anything I can do to help out. So if you have an idea that you would like to start a live video podcast or start a podcast of your own with whatever platform, right, I would encourage you, just get started with what you have, right? And the more you get started, the faster you get started, the quicker you'll make the tweaks to be able to find your message and to be able to find your audience and just to be able to do the thing that you want to do, right? So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Again, I'm trying to hop on here every day and go live and just share a little gold nugget about what's on my mind, what I've learned, what I'm trying to do. That way I can build my own message, find my own voice, and reach the people that I'm meant to reach. So thanks for watching, folks. I will talk to you tomorrow. Done.